The Edgar Cayce Guide to Self-Healing. By Patrick J. Berkery. 5. The Religious Dimension of Self-Healing. Edgar Cayce was a deeply religious man. His teaching on healing are rooted in his faith, and if we are to judge from his record as a healer, that faith has been amply rewarded. Cayce was not a dogmatist. He did not teach a religion that reeked of fire and brimstone. He saw God as a father, and he thrilled to the relationship his faith proved with that father. We will consider the religious dimensions of healing as taught by Edgar Cayce. Know that there is within self all healing that may be accomplished for the body. 4. All healing must come from the divine. For who healeth thy diseases? The source of the universal supply. As the attitude, then, of self, how well do ye wish to be? How well are ye willing to cooperate, coordinate with the divine influences which may work in and through thee, by stimulating the centers which have been latent with nature's activities? 4. All of these forces must come from the one source, and the applications are merely to stimulate the atoms of the body. For each cell is as a representative of a universe in itself. Then what would ye do with thy abilities? As ye give to others, not hating them, to know more of the universal forces, so may ye have the more, for God is love. Cayce believed that according to a person's faith, healing takes place. If we would heal ourselves, then, he wants us to have a belief in a power outside of ourselves, from which we can draw energy and vibrations. This has been aided according to the faith, as has been aroused in the body, as will be seen. Each will come under those classifications, as has been given. The manner of overcoming such, as has been intimated, may best be accomplished with the laying on of hands, that enables the individual, the entity so being aided, to have something to hold on to that is as concrete as that it is battling with. Then, as is seen in the more concerted action of the group, in their cooperative concerted action, and with the continued laying on of hands, there will come, as we find, a complete cure. Will I ever be able to diagnose ailments, and what spirit will give this to me? Will the body consciousness intend or desire, that may be a portion of the entity's work? This will be accomplished by a unison of cosmic or universal forces, as here. This may be raised in anyone that so cleanses their own physical consciousness, or raises the vibrations of their own physical bodies, to that attunement that brings healings to others, for, as has been given, who healeth all thine infirmities? Who bringeth the hope, the abounding forces of love, in thine life? As has been given, though I give my body to be burned and have not love, it profiteth me nothing. Though I may be able to interpret, though I may prophesy, though I may bring that faith so as to remove mountains, and have not love, it is nothing. Then, first know what love meaneth, for God so loved the world that he gave his Son, that we through him might have life, and have it more abundantly. From the abundance of the heart the mouth speaketh. Thoughts are deeds, and as their currents run bring either those of miracles or crimes. As he purged his own life, so may we purge our lives that they may be one in him, and as he laid his hands on many, so may the healing from self be to many. Wilt thou believe and ask in his name? Be thou, then, the sturdy, staunch guide to many, as thou would in days that were counted as but naught. Each of us are on this earth to discover God. What is the lesson that may be drawn from my entrance into the present plane? That purpose for which the soul entered in, under those circumstances and conditions in the earth's experience in the present, that the soul might meet in this experience that which will make for the more sureness in him. 4. The earth is his and the fullness thereof. 4. As given, God and the Christ Spirit is life itself, and the motivating force of the soul is either for that companionship, that association, that development, which will make such a soul body as a fit companion for that creative influence manifested in the earth in him, or it is for separating self from him. 4. In the beginning was the Word, and that Spirit, that Christ's Spirit was the Word. That Word was made flesh, even as each soul that manifests in the earth is made flesh. That soul, that spirit dwelt among men, and that soul made itself of no estate, yet the Creator, the Maker, the Giver of the life itself, that man, that each soul, that this soul, might know that it has an advocate with the Father through him that gave himself as a ransom. How? 4. As the impulses in self arise, know those impulses have arisen in him, yet through the ability to overcome death in the material world is his presence able to abide with thee. Dost thou trust in him, and not in self? Or, as he gave, in him who is the Maker and the Creator is life alone, and they that put their trust in anything else climb up some other way. But they that put their trust in him are his, and he calleth them by name, and he abideth with them. When ye call on him he is very near. Know, then, that in this experience thou mayest come to know him as thine daily companion in whatsoever thou doest. For, if ye love me, keep my commandments. What are his commandments? A new commandment he gave, that ye love one another, even as he hast loved thee. How did Cayce view God? What was his understanding of God? In the beginning was the Spirit, a vast sea of mind force, of discerning energy, occupying all space, all time. Omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, this was the source of all, the first cause, the universal force. This was the whole, the essence of life, the I am, that I am. This was the eternal God. The mind of God embraces the total life energy, for all in its elemental form is one. All time, all space, all power and matter essentially are one and are based on the force of attraction and repulsion, the positive and negative law around which the universe revolves. The movement, the vibration of this atomic structure, is the manifestation of the Creator. During its nebulous activity, the gathering of positive-negative forces becomes the creative power. Atoms, molecules, cells, and matter change, but the essence, the spirit, does not change. Only the form of manifestation changes. Not its relationship to the first cause. Cayce saw God as the cosmic and universal source, and this was the basis of all relationship of the individual entities. All our thoughts proceed from the infinite mind, and he is the first cause. Explain, so those things that do appear to have reality, and their reality to the human mind, have in reality passed into past conditions before they have reached the mind, for with the earth's laws and its relation to other spheres has man become a past condition. This relates to that of the spiritual law in its relative forces in the earth planes, or that of a finite mind attempting to comprehend the laws of the infinite mind, for before any condition exists in the finite mind, it has become a past condition, relatively spoken, from the infinite mind. As we have in the earth's sphere, when the light from the planets, or any of the elements in solar system, cast their shadow, or light, upon the earth's element, for such conditions have passed into space before it can be a conscious condition to the human consciousness. Again, the relative conditions in the earth's plane, or sphere, as related to the spiritual conditions, or laws, for as would again be sought, one who would understand the infinite mind must approach that with the finite in such condition, as to receive that spiritual insight into such relations, must less conditions. Healing for Cayce is an act of wisdom, wherein our understanding is elevated to appreciate the laws of nature, and the balance of the triune in man. God is the source of wisdom, and as such is the contact between man and his well-being. Yes, we have the group as gathered here, as a group, as individuals, and their work upon the lesson wisdom. In continuing with the discussion upon the wisdom of the Father, let first each of you attune yourselves to that consciousness, as may be had through attuning self in this meditation. Our Father who art in the heaven of our own consciousness, so attune my mind, my body, with the infinite love thou hast shown to the children of men, that I in body, in mind, may know the wisdom of the Father in Jesus, the Christ. Then it behoves each to be more aware of that love as brings into the experience of each soul the understanding that we as individuals cannot bear the cross of life alone, but that the Father in his wisdom has given to each an ensample, a promise to the children of men, which is indeed mine now if I will but choose the love of Jesus in my daily life, in my walks among my fellow men. In wisdom thou wilt not find fault. In wisdom thou wilt not condemn any. In wisdom thou wilt not cherish grudges. In wisdom thou wilt love those, even those that despitefully use thee, even those that speak unkindly. In the wisdom of Jesus do I claim the promises of God and know his presence. Though in those things that are not always understood, it is his wisdom that makes for the changing of the affairs of the material experiences, the environs, the opportunities for those who profess their faith to give of themselves in body, in mind, that they may indeed know the wisdom of God in their experiences. Know that the wisdom of Jesus, that is the promise to all, is a part of the daily life, and not to be put on as a coat or a cloak, but to be part and parcel of each and every entity. This is the wisdom to know, as I purpose in my heart to do, it is in accord with that I profess with my mouth. It is wisdom that the acts of the body, of the mind, be in accordance with that proclaim to thy children, to thy neighbor, to thy friend, to thy foe. For life is in its material activity the wisdom of the Father, that men may everywhere manifest, that they, too, may be a part of the consciousness of the cosmic consciousness. How can one attain this Christ consciousness then, especially if he wishes to use it in the process of self-healing? God so loved the world as to give his only begotten Son, that we, through him, might have life, God, more abundant. He, though he were the Son, learned obedience through the things which he suffered. He that climbs up any other way than accepting those things that are to be met day by day, even as he seeks through some other channel. The servant may never be greater than the master. He has given that we may be equal and one with him, yet through him, his manifestations, in him, we live in the earth, we move and have our being. For who forgave thee thy material shortcomings, thy material errors, as judged by thy superiors at that experience in the material world? Thy Lord, thy Master, thyself. For he stands in thy stead, before that willingness of thy inner self, thy soul, to do good unto others, that willingness, that seeking is righteousness, if ye will but understand, if ye will but see and forget the law that killeth, but remember the spirit of forgiveness that makes alive. Cayce is urging us, then, to make use of the Spirit, for in this way we will be able to identify with the Master who makes all things whole. For it is the Spirit, the purpose, the ideal with which ye think, ye speak, ye act, that will determine what the fruit of thy life, of thy thoughts, will be. If ye sow the Spirit, in the seed of the spirit of patience, of love, of long-suffering, brotherly kindness, the lack of hate, but love, love in everything, then ye will find, as he has given, he the Master, Jesus, the Christ consciousness, will abide with thee. He has attained the Christ consciousness in giving of himself. Though able in mental and physical to lay aside the cross, he accepted same, offering self as the sacrifice, that ye might have an advocate in the Father. Thus are ye saved, by grace. The path to healing, then, is not money, position, wealth, or any of the other strengths admired by the world. As Cayce tells us, this was never been God's way, will never be God's way. What he wants us to do is to recognize the power of God and strive to attain Christ consciousness, so that we can bring balance to ourselves and our neighbor. Leave the results ever with him, in their own good time, as he sees fit. For, they must develop step by step. Faint not that there are no unusual happenings or experiences at the present. Rather know that in his own time will the glories, and the peace that comes from service, be made known from the sources that are of the greater service to him. If you want to achieve success in self-healing, then, Cayce tells how it can be done. And the fact that his methodology is physical, and his philosophy deeply spiritual, should not hold anyone back from developing this power. So, know ye the way, pointed out. For, as he has given, though ye come to the altar or to thine church, or to thine group, or to thine neighbor pleading not for self, but for others, and it is that ye may be exalted, that ye may be honored, that ye may be spoken well of, for others, he cannot hear thy petition. Why? Because there has another entered with thee into thy chamber, thy closet, and he thy God, that answers prayer, that forgives through his Son, is shut out. In his name, then, only, for, as he gave, they that climb up some other way are thieves and robbers. Cayce was so solicitous of helping people, that he even taught us that we had helpers to help us. He believed in the existence of guardian angels, and knew them to be more than figures of speech. For him they were guides. Do I have a guide, or guides, in the spirit world or plane? There are ever, for every soul, those that may be termed the guides or guardian angels that stand before the throne of grace and mercy. The guardian angel for this entity, as may be termed, is that one, Ariel, who stood with Marcellus at the cross. Will I be able to have protection and guidance from the spirit plane to help me carry out my ideals for my best development in this life? If there is the finding of self in its relationships to the spiritual life, and the guiding of self therein, as given, then do the angels and the guards in the spiritual life protect those in their activities. The hierarchies are not unmindful of the developing of souls through the experiences in the earth. Hence such is not out of the ordinary, but the natural spiritual development in, and through the very association, and the prayer and care of those to whom such a soul is entrusted. Know ever that the unseen are the greater influences and forces of this individual, as well as of most all others. One need never feel that he fails, as long as he appreciates the Christ consciousness. How have I failed to use wisely what God has given me? Why am I so confused about so many things? Do not feel that ye have failed. Do not judge self. You have not failed yet. You only fail if you quit trying. The trying is oft counted for righteousness. Remember, as he has given, I do not condemn thee. Go, be patient, be kind, and the Lord be with thee. It is the try that is the more often counted as righteousness, and not the success or failure. Failure to anyone should be as a stepping stone, and not as a millstone. Should a person fear that in following Cayce's advice, he will become a robot, and lose that individual touch that distinguishes his healing influences from others? Each in their own way, but the purpose, the aim, one, the desire, one, for, as just given, to some the song of the spheres is necessary for their comfort, to another the beauties in the sunset, in the water, or how, yet all are acknowledging the power of the Christ in the activative forces of nature, life, material, itself. Know nothing but the Christ, and Him crucified. We who would be healers must acknowledge the religious dimension. Be ye then faithful, every one, keeping that counsel, keeping that period of prayer, meeting them that seek in thought and with them present before him to whom all power is given, that ye may all indeed be whole every whit. Ye that seek in my name, believing and acting and keeping those commandments, which I have given thee, shall ask and receive. As to that which may be given respecting healing through prayer, meditation, and the sending out to others of that which is raised in the consciousness of those that seek through the promises in him to be a blessing, and aid, to their fellow man, he has given, and it has been accorded by those that came after to declare those things that had been proclaimed in the activities in the earth, that those who would first consecrate their own lives to the service of their fellow man could, and would, through concerted activity in prayer, meditation, bring in the experience of others that sought by them in earnestness and in truth, that they might through such aid, such counsel, such an activity, know in their own selves the glory of those promises made in him. Then, as ye in thy activities come seeking for thy own brother who asks that ye remember him, that ye aid him, do so in that manner he, the Master, has set forth, as ye seek in my name, believing, ye shall receive in thine experience. Will ye pray, will ye ask God and Christ to forgive thee? Will ye forgive others? For it is only as ye forgive that even the Saviour, the Christ, is able to forgive thee. But if ye forgive, it will be doubled to thee in thy abilities, in thy activities, in thy improvements. Cayce offers two prayers that might prove of some help to those who would heal the self and heal others. As we try to heal our inner selves and our tired, weary bodies, these prayers come as oil on troubled waters. Father, God, in thy mercy and love be thou close to me day by day, that in my weakness, and through thy strength I may be a channel of blessing to someone. Give thou, God, that strength physical, mental and spiritual, thou seest I have need of, may my prayer ever be, thy will, O God, be done in and through me each day. We thank thee for the opportunity, O Lord, that we may in some measure meet those things thou hast given for thy children in this material world. Let the power of the Christ Spirit, through those promises given, be made manifest in my life as I minister now, and in the life of this body be done that, O God, as thou seest is best at this time.